Lit.
that might be the first time that somebody beat me to the first word. All right, Moonwave.
Howdy.
What's going on?
How we feeling, gentlemen? Thank you for doing this.
Dude, thanks for having us.
Of course. How's the LA experience been so far? You guys are in LA now, like for the first time comparatively to yesterday, right? Yesterday you were in Orange County.
Yeah, we were in OC yesterday. We just breezed through LA, but we're probably gonna do the same thing again today. So this is our first stop. We might hit up Pasadena a little bit, but
We outie.
yeah, we gotta head home.
What are you doing up in Pasadena?
Just check it out. I don't know, you know.
Graze the scene.
Yeah, just take in the environment. You know?
How is your drive? 6 hours or 5 hours?
Like 6.
Like 6? Okay, yeah. Because my drive is 5. 5 exactly, actually. It's crazy. From my house, my parents' house, it's exactly 5 hours. Like 5 hours to the minute. So I guess Tracy, because we were trying to figure this out before. Geography-wise, I feel like I don't have an understanding where Tracy is.
Oh,
It's like
yeah, so we're like north of Livermore, like 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then
Push your mic a little bit.
And then we're also 30 minutes from Stockton. So we're kind of like hour from SF, hour from SAC. Just
Okay.
right in the middle.
Damn. So you guys were driving like a good distance for like all of your shows, huh?
Yeah, I mean, with Tracy, dude, there's nowhere to fucking play out there. So
Yeah.
we're always in San Francisco or Oakland or, just Berkeley area.
Yeah. I feel that. I can kind of relate to that with Concord. I feel like it was very similar. There's nowhere to play unless it was like a
Right.
small little bar.
Yeah, I never hear of Concord shows. Ever.
Yeah. We out to the Concord show.
No, exactly.
How was your OC show yesterday though?
Oh, dude, it was fun.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just played hard and had a good time.
Have you guys played down here before, or is this one of the first times you've come down here?
So we played The Smell last year with Willowake, and that was super fun.
Hell yeah, I love those guys.
Uh,
Shout out to Willowake.
No, for sure.
Shout out Willowake.
Yeah.
But we never played an OC before, so that was kind of our first experience.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty cool, though.
It's crazy to me because I've had a couple, like 1 or 2 different Orange County bands, and then I feel like Orange County rappers on here. I feel like there's a lot. It's like actually happening in Orange County musically right now with like a lot of those bands. It's really sick. Like to see Willowake doing their thing is really, really cool. But I feel like that area is like, it has a lot more music than I realized before I moved down here. Like it was really cool to move down here and kind of see like those pockets divulge and kind of like begin to understand like what really is down there, you know?
Right.
'Cause it's weird. I feel like until you do it, like you go past LA and you just don't really understand like what the rest is down there. At least I didn't.
Right. Yeah, I know. The music scene out here is just really crazy because I know it's just so many different bubbles. So no matter what your niche is, I feel like you can definitely find it here.
Yeah. No, 100%. Especially because, I mean, LA is like a city of like immigrants from other places, you know? It's like people from different parts of the country all coming together for one thing. And I was in a conversation about this last night. It's like that can breed like a lot of things, you know? But it's like I've kind of found that like if you're around the right people, then like good things will happen. Like, you know, if you surround yourself with good people who genuinely are like down to earth and like kind and sweet people, like you'll find the people you need to find, you know?
Definitely.
Do you guys feel like there was any community for music like up in Tracy, or like do you feel like when you come down here to play there's been more of a community aspect? Or
So like when we were first starting, I mean, we had like a friends band that like we would kind of start with house shows and that kind of thing, and we would kind of, there wasn't really a community up there, so we kind of make our own. But now there's definitely like a scene up there. There's people who want to come to shows. There's multiple bands in Tracy. It's just now trying to find a spot to actually play. That's kind of the hard part. But the Bay Area, dude, is so inclusive, and it's all the bands out there are so nice every time we play, and it's cool making a community through that as well. I definitely feel like we're more of a Bay Area band than we are a Tracy band at this point, but I think there's definitely community in both.
That's interesting. Yeah, I saw you. I saw you were on that bill with Ultra Q on the band at the band camp thing. We were talking about that, but I was thinking about it. Like it's crazy to me. Like I don't know any other band like from the Tracy area like that. So it was cool. It's I don't know. It's been cool to like watch you guys like really do your thing and like begin to get bigger opportunities and stuff and really grow.
Definitely, and we were kind of blown away too because we're like, I don't know. Out of all the bands in the Bay Area, they asked some 3 fools from Tracy, which I thought was kind of funny. But no, it was cool.
Yeah,
definitely a crazy experience.
Definitely a trippy experience, especially like when you're in the green room and then you're just like with Ultra Q and you're like, oh, hey.
Was that the biggest crowd you guys have played for?
I think like we've definitely played some good sized ones. I know
Maybe like Cafe Colonial.
Cafe Colonial in Sacramento. That was like a really packed room. That was really fun.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah, playing up there again next Saturday, so excited for that.
Oh, that'll be sick. That'll be sick. It's interesting. I feel like a lot of the bands that like you guys are around too are kind of creating this like really like dynamic scene like in the Bay Area and like the surrounding areas right now. Like, I mean, you guys stand Kilroy, gosh, obviously like that whole like scene. I feel like is like very much like curating its own little bubble right now, which I think is really really fucking sick.
Definitely, and like that's kind of what was hard for us in the beginning when we were starting out. Is like we're just playing with bands we kind of felt like we didn't really fit in with, or it's just kind of like we were kind of forced ourselves in a scene we didn't really belong in.
Yeah.
And now it's like we have all these different connections with different artists that like we match so well with. And although we're not like the same genre, it's just that we just like blend so well, and it's just so fun. It's nice having that community now.
Yeah, 100%. Do you guys struggle like with being labeled? Like, because I feel like that's something that's interesting for like bands that are harder. I feel like, or like harder trending or whatever, you know. But it's like there's always like these crazy subgenres of like hardcore and punk and et cetera, et cetera. But it's weird because I feel like there are it's such like a wide range in a like overarching genre that isn't like super popular. So it's like you get this weird dynamic where it's like it's difficult to like find people who are making very very similar kind of stuff that you're making. Do you guys ever feel like does it feel weird when someone tries to put like a genre on you?
Definitely, because like I mean we get like labeled so many different genres, and I think it's funny to me honestly, because I mean people will tell us that we're Midwest emo. I mean
what?
People just last night were saying that we were math rock.
What?
I know. Like we get like the SF punks think we're an indie band.
Wow. Okay, that's funny.
Like I mean, someone at like a Davis House show said we sound just like Slowdive. Dude, like we get like a wide range of like, which I think is so funny to me because when people ask like, well, what genre do you guys play? I'm like, dude, you tell me, man. Listen to our set.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think, because I'm really curious on what you interpret it as.
Yeah.
Midwest emo.
I feel like people label us wrong, but we don't even know how to label ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the idea of like not really putting yourself in a box like that. I mean, I don't see why we just fucking. We only play indie. We only play math rock. We only play whatever. Like I think just playing whatever is fun and we want to make. I don't know. I mean that's kind of the idea.
I don't remember who said this to me, but somebody said to me, genre is simply an aesthetic choice, and like a good song can sound good in any genre. Whoa, that was crazy. Yeah, but like a good song can sound good in like any genre. So you know, it's like
definitely
no matter the way you slant it, whatever like aesthetic you choose to like run with, the song, if the core of the song is good, it's still gonna be a good song. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and I was talking to a friend about this too. Like he was saying that really good songs are gonna sound good on acoustic, just stripped down to just singing in the melody of the instruments, but. I definitely think the same thing for sure.
Do you guys write acoustically? Because I think that's very true. Like, I think if it's a good way to get to like the core of what you're trying to write about. Like, if you write acoustically, or like the writing process for you guys, do songs come out of jamming, or like do you come to the band setting with a song? Like, how does that usually come about?
Well, it kind of used to be where like I would just kind of make like a bedroom demo. Like I would just record, have like a little drum machine over it, kind of the basic structure idea of the song, and I'd show it to the guys like this kind of the song idea. And we'd either expand from there, kind of take it from there, or we kind of keep it the same, depending. Yeah. But I think as of recent, I think the last few songs we've been pumping out, we've just been writing on the spot together, and I definitely like that process a lot better. I don't know, it's just really fun, and we're just more in tune with each other, so we're just writing better songs that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think there's also something about writing with like a whole band in a room where like the energy in the room is very palpable. Yeah. You know, it's like you can feel like where you were like in that moment and like what you're creating together. I don't know. It's just I feel like it's a whole different experience.
Definitely. And then there's definitely like other ones where we're just like, yeah, we're not really feeling what we're writing, but it's cool that we're kind of in the process where we're kind of getting more comfortable with each other and just part of that writing process.
Yeah. Do you guys tend to accumulate like a big vault of songs that you don't end up using?
I think definitely, yeah. I think we just even have a big vault of songs that we have released that we don't even use live anymore too. I think we just trying to constantly write and constantly just get new stuff out.
Yeah. Why is that? Is it like because of the fact that like there are certain songs that you've just played live and ones that haven't hit versus ones that have?
I just think that we're just kind of constantly writing. So we're just making new songs. We're like, well, when you're like forced to only play 20-minute sets, we kind of have to pick and choose which songs we want to put on a bill. So we're like, we want to play this one more, or we don't really want to play this one as much. And sometimes we'll swap stuff out, but there's just some songs are just more fun, or we think crowds would just like better. We try to tune the palette a little bit to what we think the crowd will like.
That's like an interesting dynamic, I think, like changing your set list based on like where you were playing or like the people you're playing to, you know? Like, 'cause I mean, if you're like, for example, like to put in like Bay Area, ish terms, it's like if you're gonna play like a show like Turtle House in Davis, that's not gonna be like the same set as that you play at like Gilman.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like those are gonna be 2 different sets for sure.
Definitely. We played like this, like, I mean, we were just talking about that San Jose DIY one, and that was super fun. But that's like kind of like the punk kind of scene.
Is
so
that the
like,
one that picture's from?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
The Gosh one?
Yeah.
No, that's from Daly City. We played this garage over there,
Uh-huh.
and it's the tightest spot. Shout out to Maximilian.
Shout out Max.
It's a sweet spot.
That's sick.
But yeah, we played that DIY show, and like since it's kind of more of the punk scene, where it's like this song's a little more punk, I think they'll like it better. We kind of cut out more of our slower ones, just because we thought it would fit the vibe better, and people liked it. But then versus when we play like more with like more indie type bands, we're not going to play our more punk ones. We'll play some of our more intricate or kind of slower paced songs, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Are you like, is that something you're like consciously aware of on stage? Like, are you like looking out and like seeing how people are reacting to stuff, or is it more or less like a post song thing?
I think definitely. I think you kind of pick up on vibe just as you're playing, and you can kind of tell, regardless if people are moving or not, you can kind of tell what the reaction is. So I think it's good for testing out songs live and kind of what works and what doesn't. I know it's just cool experimenting with that.
Yeah,
and kind of seeing which cities have different vibes.
No, yeah, 100%. So how did you guys like all originally meet? Like, how did everything kind of begin, and like how did you first get started writing music together? Like, who did you guys meet in high school, or how did you end up meeting?
Well, Ricky and I met in high school. We went to high school together, and through that we met a friend, and we actually had a different drummer to start out with. It was just me and my friend Joe. It was just, we were like a 2-piece, and then later on we had Ricky as bass player. And then Joe no longer drums for the band, but we had Luca on, and he also went to high school with us, but he was a few years older, so we didn't really have a relationship with him at the time.
Yeah.
But this guy was like a legend in our high school. Man. He has his own solo stuff. He was making music. You know, he really talented musician. He plays guitar, drums, all that shit. So it was kind of crazy looking up to him through high school, and now this guy's just kind of in our band.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
That's always a weird concept musically, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I did that for a long time too. Like there'd be people who like I'd seen like, you know, in the Bay Area or like wherever that I'd look up to, and then you meet them, and then it's very strange that everybody's just a human.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a really weird concept, but it's like music really humanizes people, I think. It's like a really good equalizer, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's strange. So you guys do that. You meet in high school, and then kind of what's the first step you take? Like, were you writing stuff before you were playing? Were you instantly thrown into like show situations, or kind of like what was the progression of the band from when you first met?
Well, it's kind of funny. So I was in a different band with Ricky at the time, called The Doubts, and I got kicked out of that band.
It's kind of a cool name.
And yeah, so I was kicked out of the band, and I had like 6 songs that I kind of just worked on my own solo stuff. So I went to the drummer of that band, Joe. And I was like, hey, dude, I got these little demos. You want to work on the side thing with me? And we just worked on songs. And then we did some house shows in Tracy from there. And then we tried to get some gigs in other places. We played Sacramento a couple times. I think we played like a garage in San Francisco. But we didn't really have a whole lot of shows really going on. We weren't as busy as we were now, for sure.
What changed? Like, how'd you get to that point?
I think just our drive was different. Joe, I mean, he had school and worked a lot too, so it's kind of hard with just all of our schedules to kind of make everything work.
Yeah.
So now we just, I think just have more of a drive, and we're just trying to be like, hey, you know, this is how we grow, and this is how we just progress as a band. I mean, I've seen other bands in the Bay Area, they're playing like every fucking weekend. And, and they're huge now. They double in size over, you know, less than a year. And that's how it happens. You got to put yourself out there, and that's how you get new listeners. So just trying to keep that momentum going, just play in front of as many new people as we can, and just trying to get ourselves out there for sure.
Yeah. It's a weird idea, like, because you could be playing to a room with like 20 people in it, but it's like you never know who's in that room, you know?
Exactly.
And it's like, even if it's not somebody who's like, you know, like super influential or whatever, it's like you could meet somebody who could get you another show, and then there could be somebody there who like gets you another show, and it kind of just spirals, you know?
Exactly.
And it's interesting because you can meet people that way in like a very like wholehearted like way. Like I feel like, dude, some of the people I've met shows like are like some of my best friends. Like literally me and Mario met at a show.
No way.
Which is crazy to me, and now we live together.
No, I think that's how I met him too, just through the Willowake show.
Yeah.
And again, it's cool getting to know him and just other people we've met through shows. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially in the Bay Area, because I feel like the scene is so small to a certain degree. It's like eventually, if you see somebody a couple shows, like I feel like you'll meet them eventually, you know?
Definitely. You see familiar faces for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys start gigging and you start playing more. When do you feel like you really like begin to grow momentum? Like, do you feel like there was a point where like things started to change? You were getting more show offers, and you started to see a little bit more success and people more, more faces at your shows and stuff.
Yeah, we played Bottom of the Hill last July. So for context too, we only were playing with Luca for 3 months at that point. So he started in April, and then this is a bucket list venue for us. We've been wanting to play here forever.
Oh yeah.
And we were playing Bottom of the Hill. It was a good ass turnout. It was fun. And then from there, we just like, so many people came up to us like, oh, like either they liked our band or they book at X and X venue and they want to help us out with stuff or whatever. And from there, we just kept doing shows. I think September to December, we played like almost every weekend that year too. Like, so it was really crazy, and it was just like really good experience because we just grew so much. We just played in front of so many new people, got a lot of new listeners, and just people who want to come out. So
yeah, that's really sick, dude. How are you like scheduling all that? Like how are most of those shows coming about?
I pretty much just book everything. So I'm constantly reaching out to bands and bookers and just trying to get, like, I usually just put everything together myself. But it's cool. We've gotten to the point where I don't have to do that as much. We have more people saying, hey, do you guys want to join our bill?
Yeah.
And because we don't really have that for the longest time. It's always just like I have to kind of put myself out there, really just like, if I want it, I'd have to get it done myself.
Yeah.
But it's cool. We kind of have a mix of both now.
That's sick. Yeah, I feel like that's always very nerve-wracking. Like getting to that point where it's like you're reaching out to all these random people you've never met before.
Yeah.
But it's like such an important skill, especially in music, you know, because at a certain point, like if you're not, I mean, eventually people will only reach out to you, but it's like, you know, like if you're not reaching out to people in the beginning, like you're really out of luck. You just kind of got to force that.
Definitely. And I know, just different artists that we've met and everything, like they kind of just wait around for offers, and that's like I don't really don't understand the just thought process with that. Like, I feel like if playing shows is fun and then what you want to do, like you gotta make it happen, I don't know. I think it's just something we always are going to try to strive for, I think. Yeah,
well, at a certain point you have to be like on the offensive, like you have to go be looking for stuff, otherwise it's not always going to find you, Yeah. So you played that show Bottom of the Hill, and then did you feel like from there you said you started getting more offers and stuff? Like what was like a very memorable show from that period?
When we played The Smell, I think that was pretty memorable. We were like, dude, we're in LA. This is a good ass turnout. We got all these new people who've never seen us before play, and is again another bucket list venue that we've played in like the first 6 months of us playing together as a 3-piece. Yeah. So I don't know. I thought again, it was just like, it's like, dude, we got some momentum going, and then that December we did Seattle, Portland, and Eugene.
Whoa.
We did a tour up there. So we're in Seattle, like 1,000 miles from home, and we're like, dude, like this is fun. We want to keep doing this. We want to keep this momentum going because this is what we want to do.
How are you meeting those people, like to get to Seattle and Portland and everything?
Dude, so I was emailing people since April, like saying like, dude, I'm trying to do something in October. I'm trying to do something in August, whatever. And no responses. No one can really help us out. Yeah. And we finally got in touch with this band Pretending up there. They're really nice guys. And they're like, dude, we'll help you out with the whole tour. And they booked us all 3 shows, and they got us going. And that was really good. It was a good experience. And we just definitely learned a lot. We just packed the hell out of my Honda Accord and just drove up there. But yeah, it was fun for sure.
Those experiences, I feel like, make you grow so much. Definitely. Like when you're doing shit like that, because it's like every single day you're like in constant discomfort, but then it's like you're like, it's worth it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and that was what was crazy. Is like we would wake up in a city we haven't been in before, and we play a show that night, and it was nice. Yeah.
It's almost that I feel like that'd be so bizarre because it's like there's nobody that you've met there. It's like very obvious. That would be wild. Did you meet like anybody on tour who like has like remained a long-term friend?
I don't know about long-term friend, but we definitely met like a lot of bands that just were really nice guys. We're like, dude, of course we want to play with you guys again when we come down here. Or when they come down here, we would love to help them out, return the favor. There's just so many nice bands up there and nice people. I mean, there's a lot of people coming up to us saying they really liked our sound, and I don't know, it's cool. We definitely want to go back. We're trying to go back soon in October.
Yeah, so. That'd be badass, man. That'd be sick. I feel like that community is very alive in like your guys' like genre area, Like I feel like the kind of music you guys make, there is a bigger sense of community to a lot of like that side of music, It's like I feel like there's very much like that mentality of like if there's a band that I like, I'm gonna help them, and hope that they'll help me, and we can just maintain that friendship. I think that's something that's so beautiful.
Especially Seattle, man. Seattle is just like all the artists up there.
Yeah, what was the music scene like in Seattle?
It's just a lot of I feel like music that's really similar to us. Yeah. I I know we played some really nice bands up there. There's just a cool like punk scene. There's a cool kind of more shoegazy kind of scene up there, and it's cool just finding our little niche in the middle.
Yeah, of course. When you guys are going to a place like Seattle, like or like somewhere that's like not in the Bay Area, so you're not gonna have anybody in front of you who's seen you play before. Does that change like the way you cater your set list? Like, is there any thought into like, oh, like they've never seen us play, so maybe this song will be a good first song or whatever?
I think we definitely thought about it. I mean, we had a slower song that we played in Portland that we kind of realized, like, okay, maybe not this song next time we play in Seattle the next day. So I kind of, again, back to kind of experimenting with stuff live, kind of picking up on vibes. I think we definitely just try to tailor it to songs that kind of go hard and would impress, I guess, because we want to leave a good impression.
Yeah.
We want people to be like, oh, I want to see them again when they come back.
Of course, yeah.
So just trying to, wherever we think would impress.
That makes sense. Being like a band that plays live so much, do you guys ever consider how a song will sound live, like while you're writing? Like, is that ever like a concern? Like, are you writing songs like for a live presence more? Because I mean, you guys play a ton of shows.
I think a little bit, yeah.
I think we like are usually like we kind of started off in like a live set sense before we even like Cade was saying, like he'll do a bedroom demo, but it all comes together when we all like do it live. Yeah.
And I don't know, I think I just like the contrast. Like I like a drum machine chill track and then live is crazy. Like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't really like that, and they're like, you don't sound anything like your Spotify stuff, which I think we're trying to get better at. But at a certain point, I think it's kind of cool because you kind of get a different vibe, and then you kind of have a cool energy live. I think it's kind of nice having contrast like that for sure. Yeah,
I totally agree. Well, because I feel like somebody coming to see you live, it should be an experience of its own.
Definitely.
It shouldn't feel like the record. It shouldn't feel exactly the same because it's not. It's live.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like even the way you play songs live, you should be having fun with it. Like I feel like bands who have fun with it is maybe more interesting of an experience. Like I know one of our songs we always just play with the little bridge in the middle, try to add things in there or just change different things up because I don't know, just having fun with our songs is what makes us have fun. Less routine for sure.
Yeah, and then I feel like too. Also, the thing is like, as you play more and more shows as a band, as a unit, it's like I think you can get to that place where you can like improv on stage a little bit more, and you can play with the track. If you want to add an extra, if you want to add an extra chorus or whatever, or you just want to play with something a little bit more like on the fly. Like, do you guys feel like you pivot like very well on stage together? Like, how has kind of that dynamic grown?
Definitely. I mean, like I think before we would kind of like sometimes kind of stop or we would kind of give each other a look a little bit, but now we're kind of just able to just roll with it, and for sure. And even just doing stuff on the fly, like just last night, I mean, Luca did something sick on the drums. He's like, oh, listen to this part. And we're like, dude, keep doing that. That sounds sick. Just always just trying to the new stuff we can do live and just keep it interesting. Just having fun with it.
Sometimes the drums will have toms, and I get to use those.
Dude, I literally think about that all the time because there's so many. Dude, being a drummer that isn't playing a bunch of headlining gigs is like such an experience because you're playing on a different style of kit every single night. I have always played because I played I played drums like by myself for years before I ever gigged, and it was like I always just played with 2 rack toms. That was just always how I played. And then I realized, like, as I started playing shows when I was like 17, 18, I was like, oh, this is like not the norm. Yeah. So it was like I had to like cater a lot of my fills to like doing different things. It's a weird experience.
For sure.
Have you ever had like a really weird kit you had to figure out?
I always see like those memes where it'll be like, oh, we got a house kit, bro.
Those are hella funny, yeah.
But
5 floor toms.
Yeah, you're like I've never really had to like I don't know, because usually when I play I only just have like a snare drum. I don't even use like rack toms or anything
at all.
Well, people who don't know this, dude, Luca's like a minimalist, so he only has ride, hi-hats, and a snare. That's it. That's all he uses.
I try to keep it super minimal because I like the idea of like getting as much sound as you can out of like the main things, you know what I mean? So
that's interesting.
And also it makes packing the car fucking easy, you know?
Yeah,
so.
Definitely.
I've never. That's so minimal,
dude.
Yeah, I try to keep it super minimal because I used to like play in like jazz band and stuff like that. So
makes sense.
A lot of the times you just kind of have like that little like pocket kit set up.
Yeah.
So I try to like implement that into like a more like a more hard sound because I think that's like not a lot of people do that. So
totally.
I try to like keep it super minimal. Even even like going forward, I do eventually want to like, you know, upgrade the drum set and make it like a lot more big, but I kind of like the way just keeping it super minimal. Yeah.
I do feel like there's also a level of like creativity that comes out of the minimalism.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It makes you definitely think like
More, yeah.
Yeah, like, but then what happens is when you do get toms, you'll try to do something cool, and then you're like, oh wait, like I haven't done this in a while, so I have to like figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
We played a DIY show where the band that was back in the kit had like 5 toms, and we're like, all right, Luke, you got to use all the toms.
Neil Per, yeah.
Was that the
5? That's
Toxic
crazy.
Beach?
No, that was Pillars.
Oh yeah.
No, that was funny.
Yeah, they had like 3. I can only do like 1 rack tom and then like a floor tom. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do the other one.
Yeah, 5 is crazy.
Yeah.
So what, he had like 2 on the kick and then he had like stands for the rest?
Yeah, so I think he had like the 2 on the kick, there's a stand on the crash, and then I think he had like 2 floor toms or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
that's a lot.
dude, you better be doing a lot of fills if that's
Yeah.
how many toms you have.
Yeah.
I honestly like take them apart. Like when I see like too much stuff, like I'll just like start like removing parts of the kit and be like, I'm sorry, but I had to.
It
Yeah.
just feels cluttered.
Yeah.
It feels super cluttered.
I would
so.
assume too, like coming from a jazz background, it seems like having such a minimal setup would really make you like keen in and focus on like your sticking patterns and like playing with different rudiments and stuff, and like really making the most out of like your snare drum, like making it sound like more than it really is.
I just got like a piccolo snare, so I've been like having fun
Cool.
with that. Yeah.
Damn, that's sick. What the hell? That's cool. I've never really heard of anybody playing that minimal. Being a 3-piece, how does that kind of change your guys' dynamic? Like, especially I'd be interested to hear on drums too, because like I imagine you gotta take up a lot more space, you know, opposed if you have like a rhythm guitarist or like something else. It's like being a 3-piece. I feel like there's a lot more space. Do you ever struggle with that? Like, what is kind of your mentality going and looking at that?
I think what's cool about like being a 3-piece is that like we're like all of us matter. So
Yeah.
if something's
sick.
not there, then it's not
You're
gonna
gonna hear
feel
it.
right.
You're gonna
you know?
hear it.
Yeah. So
Well, it even changes the way we record, because like, I mean, we just finished recording an EP, and it's like we were recording a song, like, oh yeah, I have to do rhythm parts where normally I play lead live.
Yeah.
So it's like figuring out what I want to do for all these extra parts, because live we don't have a rhythm guitarist, so I'm kind of playing all the parts. So,
Yeah.
just trying to figure out like how we want everything to sound sonically too, because it's like you said earlier, it's just very different live from the recordings.
Oh, totally, yeah. I feel like it's like an underrated dynamic that people don't think about a lot. You know, like
Definitely.
being a 3-piece versus a 4-piece, that's a lot more space to fill, you know?
Definitely.
It's strange. Were you guys like, have you always like wanted to be a 3-piece? Have you ever like wanted to go play with anybody else, or like?
Honestly, when I first started, I loved the 2-piece setup. I loved just like, it was really simple. It was just me and one other person. Like, it made gigging easy, made, I don't know, the writing process really easy.
Yeah.
But there's so much space that's left because of that. Like,
Like a
we
ton,
don't have
yeah.
a bass, we don't have all this extra. So it's like, it's really hard to do stuff like that. So it's really cool just having just the trio. I don't know. I feel like adding another person complicates things a little bit. But but no, I think we all work really well together. I like keeping it nice and tight.
Yeah, even just in like numbers, I feel like.
Yeah.
Even in just like 4 people versus 3 people, 4 people instantly feels like you're rolling in with like a lot more people than 3. I don't
Yeah.
know. There's something about it.
And we've played with bands that have like 5, 6 members. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like, how do you guys work with like your work schedule?
Communicate.
Dude,
Yeah.
like just a practice, much less gigs, much less tour. Like, I don't know. I think that's crazy, but I think it just makes everything so much easier when it's just 3 of us.
And also all of like the conflicting personalities in a band that big would be crazy. I feel like you gotta like
Yeah.
balance so many different people.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
It's gotta be uber communication. Like imagine the Eagles or like Leonard Skinner.
yeah. Right.
How did
Insane.
they like? I can't even imagine that. There was like what, 9 people in Leonard Skinner or whatever.
It's crazy.
Dude, one of the craziest facts of my entire life is that I've seen Leonard Skinner 3 times by accident.
No way.
Really?
Yeah. They're all 3 times by accident.
Where at?
So the only venue in Concord is called the Concord Pavilion. It's like a gigantic amphitheater. It's like shoreline of the East Bay, but like nobody knows
Okay.
about it.
Yeah.
But my little brother, so twice my little brother went to see them and needed somebody to go with, because it's like it's not even that he's like a Leonard Skinner fan. It's just like there's like that venue's like 5 minutes away from our house.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so he just like went twice, like all his little friends, and they all needed like somebody to go with them that was like an adult. So I went with them twice, and this was 2 different years. And then another time that when I was a little kid, my dad won tickets on the radio.
Oh, nice.
So I've accidentally seen Leonard Skinner 3 times, and it's crazy to me that they've played at this venue in Concord 3 times.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's funny.
Conquer's a spot for them.
Dude, I guess so.
Yeah.
Not for much, but for Leonard Skinner,
Yeah.
we got him in spades.
Well, I mean, Blue Oyster Cult came to Tracy and played at our theater over there,
What?
dude. Like,
Yeah.
and like I had to work that event, and like I got to like sell their merch and stuff like that. And
What?
It was a very interesting experience. Dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like Tracy, California is part of your tour. Like, okay.
Did you meet them?
I didn't really care to meet them because it's not even the original members, dude. Like a lot of them,
Oh,
like
okay.
I think there's only like 1 or 2 original members. But I did meet the tour manager. Like I got his card and stuff.
Oh,
But
that's cool.
yeah, it was like pretty much all new guys.
Yeah.
I didn't really care.
Maybe,
find it-
maybe we can open for Blue Oyster
Oh
Cult.
yeah.
That would be so crazy, bro. That would be like that'd be such a trip to even look at.
Dude, I know.
They're at least like how old I wonder how old they are. 40s, 50s, 50s.
No,
So
it's
older?
Gotta be like 50s, man.
50s,
If not-
right?
If not older, because they were like in the 80s, like touring and big and that kind of
Yeah, I
thing.
guess
So,
so.
they've been on tour for a really, really, really long time.
They're one of those bands that like I feel like I hate the word one hit wonder, but it's like there are certain bands from like the 80s and 70s that like we will always only know for like 1 or 2 songs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Like Don't Fear the Reaper to me is like the existence of Blue Oyster Cult, and
So-
I don't really
Yeah,
know
yeah.
much outside of that.
Yeah, so there's that one, Godzilla, and then I
Yeah.
don't know anything else. So,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just very funny.
Do you do that like as a job? Like you work concerts?
No, so I work for the city of Tracy
Mhm.
in our Parks and Rec department. So completely removed from that, but our Grand Theater sometimes pulls our staff and needs
Oh,
help with different
cool.
events. So it's really cool. I got to work that event. I worked a comedy event too for like Kevin Nealon. Like it
Cool.
was pretty cool. A lot of interesting faces come to the Tracy for whatever reason.
Yeah. Do you guys all work like normal jobs outside of music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that balance wise?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I work in like an office, like a cubicle.
Uh-huh.
It's cool, but I like it because it's 8 to 5 and it gives me my weekends. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm able to do stuff like this, you know. So
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome. It's plug. So
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
same.
How do you guys work around like balancing those schedules? Like balancing the world of like, you know, working full time then also trying to be a full-time musician.
Ooh.
You just make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like when you're just like super into something, like you'll make anything work. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So
of course.
Just
yeah.
fitting practices wherever we can. I mean, like, for example, this week, like I was pretty much off at 8:30, like this whole week.
Uh-huh.
And so we're just like, all right, guys, late practice this week. You know, we're just gonna have to make it work.
Yeah.
So wherever we can to fit it in, we always try to do it at least once a week.
Uh-huh.
Try to make sure we can try to at least make sure we're dusting off the rust.
Like practicing at least once a week.
Yes.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. In terms of like recording, like, cause it was interesting too, like looking at your guys' catalog. It's really cool to me that you have like a bunch of like little EPs.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like your release schedule has been like, you know, let's like put 2 or 3 songs like into one little project instead of doing like a gigantic one. What was like the decision? Like, why do you prefer doing it that way opposed to putting a lot of the songs on like one album or something?
Well, it's kind of like palatability, right? It's like
Uh-huh.
if we're releasing 10 songs, it's really daunting. Like, who's gonna listen to all 10 of the songs?
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck is Moonwave? Like, you're gonna listen to our whole album that we put out, you know?
Uh-huh.
But if it's just like a quick single or like 3 songs, like I can digest that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little easier when we're putting that out. I don't know. I think when we get to a point where we actually have a good listening base, maybe we'll do a whole release. But for now, I think it just makes sense to kind of do quick stuff. Yeah.
That's smart. I feel like people overthink that when they're like a newer or a band that's like trying to, you know, accumulate more of a fan base. It's like, oh, we got to put out this crazy album. It's like,
Yeah.
like that doesn't mean very much if, you know.
Well, and for me too, like I would see artists like they release an album and so they got like 10 songs now, and then after a certain point, like maybe like a month or 2 later, they're not even playing those songs anymore. They got all these new songs that sound completely different, and now they got
Yeah.
10 new songs, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like if you're always writing and growing, it's just kind of keeping things quick steps at a time. I don't know. I think it makes it a little easier on our end, and
Mhm.
again, more digestible for people to listen to.
So when you're doing that though, like when you have like, you know, 2 or 3 song EPs, are you kind of trying to group them in ways that make sense, or are you just
Yes.
kind of because the newest project, it interested me because the new single and the last EP, both the covers kind of had like that dark imagery to them, like
Sure.
that kind of interested me. I felt like that those were maybe in some way in tandem and together.
Yeah, I mean, just I don't know. I think that last thing we put out definitely was kind of a cool turning point because it's just kind
Mhm.
of a little more chill, a little more relaxed, but just kind of trying new stuff and trying to branch new territory.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why we kept it on its own. We didn't really have anything else that kind of fit that vibe, so it was like just a quick single. But we just recorded an EP. We had 3 tracks, and we cut one of them because we're like, yeah, this doesn't really fit the other two. So we'll put that on the back burner. Maybe later we'll put it out. But yeah, we definitely keep in mind like how songs work together and how people are gonna kind of like take it.
Yeah, of course. I feel like it's probably easier to do that too with like with the smaller projects, you know.
Definitely.
I think it's a really good way to go about things. I feel like there's not a lot of. I feel like there should be more bands that are looking at it in that way, you know.
I think so for sure.
Does that make recording a lot easier? Like are these songs? So are you kind of like in the wavelength where like you'll finish a song and then record it like as soon as it's done, or are you like blocking out 2 to 3 days? Like okay, these 2 to 3 days we're gonna record this EP.
We definitely blocked it out just because we want to just give ourselves as much time as possible. And it was really funny because I was telling the guys on the drive up there, I'm like, all right, guys, we're taking our time with this project.
Yeah.
We're going to really try to see what we can add to these songs and make them good. And we finished the whole EP in one day, like one session. And but we really like the sound. I feel like we kind of take it as is, right? Like if we think there's more to add to it, we'll add more. But if we like the way it sounds, that's the song.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's cool too because I feel like there's like, I don't know, there's ways you can go about it that make less sense strategically. You know, it's like I feel like the way that you guys are doing it, it just as a band and as a like band that's kind of come up and trying to like find a fan base like that, it just like you said, it makes things more consumable. It's like I don't have to sit through an entire project of like things, you know.
Yeah, and like when we're sending our music to bands that we want to play with, right? Or like when we're trying to tour, trying to whatever, like here's what we sound like. We're not sending them like a 10-song album. Like here's like 3 songs, bro. Here's a good palette for you.
It's also like very aware because it's like realistically, like, if you send like a band like a 10, 12, 13 song album, like they're probably not gonna listen to the whole thing, you know. Yeah.
Well, even when bands release albums, like I'm guilty of that too. Like I'll kind of like skip through some stuff. I'm like, oh, that's all right. You know? But and that's the thing too is like I feel like it's harder to kind of have more tracks that are like super solid, especially just kind of at the level where we're at right now. Just with like songwriting and everything, like there's gonna be skip tracks for sure. So just trying to make sure we're really proud of everything we put out. So if that means smaller releases and smaller releases.
Like cutting all the fat.
Definitely.
That makes sense. I think like as I've gotten older, with like and my listening habits have kind of changed. Like I used to be such an albums purist. Like I used to be like,
definitely.
If it's not on a full studio record, I'm not listening to it. And it's like I'm listening to it front to back and nothing else.
Definitely.
But it's
not
like
on vinyl, man.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like as I've gotten older, I feel like I've kind of accepted the fact that, like that's just not realistic for a lot of bands and a lot of artists, you know. And it just makes more sense to like do it the way that you guys are doing it and kind of blocking things out.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's kind of how we want to stay. It's just like keep writing songs because we're not going to be writing like 10 songs at a time, and we don't want to take a whole year to work on new songs, new projects. We want to keep releasing, keep people like engaged with our stuff. So I think that's kind of the way to go about it, just like singles and EPs here and there.
Putting all those projects, how many projects did you guys put out in 2022 technically?
Too many.
A lot, right?
We have a lot. We have several EPs, singles and stuff. Because that was the other thing too. Before we had Luca on, we weren't releasing very much. We weren't releasing at all. We weren't really playing shows. And now it's just like changing the drive. Like, all right, guys, we're gonna be constantly releasing, constantly playing shows, making sure that we are staying relevant as much as we can, and not that because there's always bands that kind of like not necessarily fade into obscurity, right? But like they're going in the back of our minds. We're just like, I haven't thought about these guys in a while. They haven't released, not playing shows. Like, I don't know. Trying to make sure we're always active, so we're always in front of new people.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Did you guys kind of have a different mentality going into 2023? Because, I mean, you put out a ton of stuff, like releasing a ton in 2022, and it seems like in 2023 you were more like hammering down the live stuff.
Yeah, I think because we ended 2022 on a high note. We ended on a Seattle, Portland, Eugene tour. That was super fun. It was our first tour ever. So fun. And we were just like, all right, bigger. 2023 is going to be bigger. We're going to keep doing more. We're going to do more releases. We're going to play bigger shows with bigger artists, bigger whatever. We're going to keep trying to progress as much as we can. And I think we've been doing our best with that right now for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely been our mindset. And even 2024 right now too, we're like, all right, guys, bigger. Next year we're going to do more shows, or better shows, things like that. Trying to play with bigger artists, things like that.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I think that mentality can get kind of draining though at a certain point, because it's like if all you're ever doing is like I want to do more and more and more. Like, dude, one thing I struggle with I think is when I'm in really cool experiences that I've like found through music is like taking a step back and like being like, oh, like I'm gonna enjoy this moment right here,
Definitely. Well, and that's the thing too is like we'll hit it so hard at the live shows, and like, all right, guys, we kind of want to break. We want our weekends back for a little bit. we kind of want to relax because you're working full time during the week, and then you have shows on the weekend, so it feels like you got 2 full-time jobs between practicing and playing gigs and all that kind of thing, because that's your whole Saturday, right? You're driving to the gig, getting there early for a setup and everything, and you don't get home till like 1 in the morning, especially being from Tracy, man. And getting food after, and then driving all the way back like an hour. So it definitely can feel draining for sure.
That is like the worst turnaround.
Yeah.
Like play a show, get home at literally 2 in the morning, then wake up and go to work the next day.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's also like part of it. Like I feel like when you're kind of in that stage of your life and your musicianship, you kind of have to embrace it. You know,
that's the life, man. I've definitely done that. Where like immediately after work, going to a gig, and just being tired because I've been up since 8, 7, 6 a.m. From a shift. So I think we just have that drive. We're like, yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes. We're about it, and that's kind of what we want to do. Not necessarily that's what we need to do, but just kind of what we enjoy doing. We like playing gigs.
Yeah. I was having a conversation about this recently. Like, I feel like because it's like, when you do stuff like that, it's like you question like, damn, like what am I even doing this for?
Yeah.
But it's like I genuinely could not possibly picture myself doing anything else but this.
Right.
Like I couldn't picture myself doing anything, like could you guys ever see a world where you don't make music? Because
no, and
I mean,
I've said this a lot of times before. It's like, dude, I'm 40 years old, dude. Like, I don't know, 3 kids, whatever. Like, I'm still gonna be making bedroom demos. Are you fucking kidding me? Like it doesn't matter where I am musically. I still, it's just something is more natural to me. It's something I always will have a drive to do, whether that's for people or not. Yeah, it's something I would want to do for sure.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Are you in school at all? How old are you guys? I didn't even ask you this.
I'm 24.
And I'm 21.
21?
I'm 21 too.
Are you guys in school?
I took a semester when I was 18, and then I just didn't go back. I was like, music just started picking up, and I was like, I could always go back to school if I wanted to. I'd rather just focus on this.
100%, yeah.
College is bullshit anyway. So.
I'm bad at school. School's hard.
Yeah, man, I feel that. School is definitely hard. That was like something I had kind of a similar track record, similar trajectory. Like I did more than one. I did 3 semesters of community college, but then it got to a point where like this was picking up, and I was like, all right, worst case scenario, if this all dies tomorrow, I can just go back to school,
Yeah, and it kind of would make me feel bad for a while too, because like I see like people I went to high school with, they're like graduating or getting their AAs or they're getting their bachelor's early or whatever. I'm just like, man, dude, like what have I been doing this past time? Like it's just interesting. It's like where, not necessarily where I should be at, but I guess where people are saying I should be at.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think that's not really something I'm ever going to want to do, is spend years going to college to get a degree, to do some job for the rest of my life. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather just focus my time on doing things I enjoy, like music.
Yeah, those are also 2 different things though, right? Like the idea of like what you should do versus like what somebody else is telling you should do. It's weird because nobody knows like what's best for you outside of you. Nobody.
Yeah, and I was even having a conversation with a friend too. Like he was just talking about how some degrees are like useless or whatever, and I was just like, dude, like why would I not want to like get a degree in something I'm interested in? Like I don't understand why I need a degree for a job. Like like why can't I go to school for just things I want to learn about, like whether that's gender studies or sociology or whatever. Like I don't know. I think all that stuff is very interesting, and it's just weird how society kind of forces you into the kind of like little bubbles like that.
Into a box, yeah. Well, it's weird too because it's like we've put like an like we've almost like incentivized learning, and like that's good. Like we should want to learn, but it's like people should be allowed to go to school to just learn and not just go to school to get a degree,
Yeah, and it kind of changes the way people look at learning. Like if I'm, again, for example, gender studies, if I'm getting a degree in that, people are like, yeah, like what job are you gonna get in that? That's a useless degree. Like oh, I can't learn about things, or I don't know.
It's like, is the point of education to get a job? Like,
yeah,
that's what kind of sucks too, is like the difference between like education and school or education and learning, Yeah. It's like, at what point did learning only become available in school?
Yeah.
Like, that's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just some people, especially just that are in the college circuit, definitely have a very different mindset when it comes to that kind of thing.
Have you guys played any shows to college audiences?
We've played in Davis a few times, dude. Davis has a cool scene up there.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done any other.
Depot.
Oh yeah. We played
SFSU.
SFSU like twice. Yeah. That's a cool spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the college kids out there. And I think when we played those DIY shows in Daly City, I think Maximilian's place is not too far from campus, so definitely a lot of college kids crowd that's in there. And I think it's cool because it's just like people there for a good time on the weekend. So I think it makes for a fun show.
That is one thing that I think like me, people who work in music or like our musicians like lose out on the college thing. It's like I think it would have been cool if I did go to school to be in like a college music scene.
Yeah.
I think that would have been cool.
No, for sure.
But it's definitely like its own little niche thing in a weird way.
Because there's even different like college bands, dude. Like we played like a frat party, dude, and like that was very interesting.
How was that?
Well, it's just like, it was like a lot of like, it taught us about tailoring stuff. So there was a jam band that opened, and the band after them was like covering like Limp Bizkit and
all the good stuff,
Rage Against the Machine, and all those. And like, not that they're thinking about covers, but it's just like they kind of knew it was a party vibe, so they're playing songs people know and like.
Yeah.
So when we went and played all originals, like first we're playing like 10:30 or something like that. So we're playing kind of late. Everyone's already tired and drunk and going home.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we're playing all originals, so people were kind of just like oh, okay, you know.
Like,
but
who is this? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you bring Linkin Park back on, or you know. Yeah, I think it just really taught us about like different settings and tailoring. I'm not saying that we're gonna start playing covers a bunch, but it just gave us insight.
Have you guys done any covers on stage?
We don't really like to do covers. I mean, it's like, again, we have such like a larger catalog. We have less time to play. We just wanted to really just show off what we have. I mean,
Thank you. Sorry.
every cover we play takes away from a song we could have played of ours that people may have liked. So we've done a couple times in the middle of one of our songs. Like we'll do a quick like transition into like "Take Me Out," the Franz Ferdinand song. Like, we'll do a quick little lick from that, and then we'll go back into our song. But we don't really do full-fledged covers like that. Because again, we just have a lot of other songs of ours we want to play.
Yeah, of course. Do you guys tease new stuff on stage a lot? Like, will you play stuff that's not out a ton, or are you playing mostly things that are out on stage?
All the time. Because I mean, when we're writing together kind of on the spot before we're recording anything. So we're trying to really refine it in the live setting. Kind of like, okay, I want to do this differently, or I liked when I did this. So I think that's kind of how we really solidify our songs.
Yeah. That's an interesting concept. Like when a song gets better because you play it live.
Exactly.
You know, it's like it like changes and morphs to like what you need it to be because you're playing it live. And then there's like it's in a pressure setting, and then it's like sometimes parts come out of you that you didn't know were there. You know.
Exactly. And you're like, okay, I want to do this differently, or I did this by accident, but it sounded kind of sick. So,
yeah.
I know. It's so cool doing stuff like that.
What's your guys' favorite song to play live? Like, is there one thing that like out and away is like, wow, we love this one live?
Strawberry's fun as fuck to play.
I think that's the song for us, dude. I mean, like
the crowd pleaser.
Yeah, I think that is the crowd pleaser, and then which I really hate, man. I hate it because it's like 2 chords, and everyone loves it. So I know it's cool, but yeah, I think like no matter what the setting is, like whether we're kind of like feeling nervous or people aren't really feeling it, like by the time we get to Strawberry, we're just like, fuck it, dude, we're into it, we're moving around.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely is like a song we can really loosen up with.
Yeah, 100%. Was stage presence something that was like hard to grow for you guys? Like when you started performing, like was it hard to get the confidence to really like be super like active and like jumping around on stage and everything and really being yourself?
Definitely. And like I think like part of it too is like I would try to just be other people, or like oh, like that guy was cool when he did stuff, like I want to do stuff like him. It's like more like instead of putting on an act, just like getting into the music and having fun. So like now it's just we're moving around because we're into the music, man. It's not because we're putting on a show, I guess. Yeah. And I think it's just
it's like real. It's not like you're like forcing it.
And we've got so much more comfortable with that because before, it's hard. It's like you're nervous on stage and you want people to like it, you want people to get into it. But I just find when we're into it, they're into it. So it makes it a little easier.
It's really interesting too because it's like that idea of like this is what is like in you on stage, but it's like the nerves are what holds it back. Exactly. It's like when you're really feeling like what you're playing, like you want to move, you want to jump around, but it's like the nerves are telling you to not do that. Like to push that down in you and like kind of not let that out. But it's like the most real version of like what you're doing on stage is that.
Definitely.
And when you're really into what you're playing.
Definitely. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just really fun. Just get lost in it, lost in the sauce, just playing.
Yeah, 100%. Do you guys like in the next year, next like 2-3 years, like is there a venue that's like a dream spot you really want to play? Like what's on the bucket list still?
Fox Theater.
Rickshaw
Shea
Stop.
Stadium.
I think that's like an attainable next step for us.
You said Rickshaw Stop?
Rickshaw Stop.
That spot's so sick.
I think just like maybe playing Bottom of the Hill like more times so we can get just more heads out there, but Rickshaw or Neck of the Woods would be really tight.
Neck of the Woods would be cool, yeah. It's crazy to me this is like a weird observation, but like I think what I like about Rickshaw Stop, it feels super intimate. I think why that is because the ceilings are so low.
The ceilings are very low compared.
I don't know why I like that a lot, but it's like the ceilings are very low at Rickshaw Stop.
Yeah, and like I don't know the way it is too. It's just like because there's more seating up top. There's kind of like a little less space down the standing.
Yes.
And it just makes it feel a lot closer and a lot like more intimate.
Yeah.
And with the bar back there too, it kind of makes it just feel like you're closer.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so sick how they'll put like a special drink like every night for the headlining band. Like they'll make a drink for them. I think that's so sick.
No, it just gets people into it too. I think it's really sweet.
Yeah, 100%. What is your do you guys had to like? I mean, success is arbitrary at a certain point, but like if there was a big goal you guys had for the next like year, like one thing you really want to accomplish from like today to a year from today, like what would it be?
I really want to open for Lily. I love that band.
They're fire.
They've inspired me so much. I think I saw them play live and I was like, dude, I'm buying a whammy pedal immediately. You know, because I know they like influenced our tone so much. I would love to just open for them. I think they're a crazy band and we'd fit with them for sure.
That's fire. What about you guys? Like one thing that comes to mind?
I'm kind of satisfied with where we are right now. Like, I find not having expectations for anything too grand just makes it better to like see where it goes instead of expecting something, you know? Because like I didn't expect to be here this weekend like a year ago, and here I am.
That's beautiful.
That was a great response, Ricky.
So insightful.
Yeah, I agree with him completely. Just kind of like having things come naturally, and I think that's like a really cool experience.
Yeah, make me look like an asshole over here. Thanks, guys.
So vain, Cade. You're so.
I know. It's all about the Skrilla for sure.
I want a Bentley. I want
Rolex on my wrist for sure.
You guys are over here like, yeah, I just want to be in touch with myself in the year. That's funny. Moonwave. Thank you guys for the conversation.
Thanks for having us. It was really fun.
Very, very, very appreciated. Hell yeah. Tell them where they could listen, where they could follow, where they can see you live, where they can do all the things.
We're on Bandcamp, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming stuff. We're everywhere. But we're at Moonwave Band on Instagram. So we're always posting new shows. So if we're in your area, you should slide through.
Hell yeah. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty. Music matters.